Hey, how you doing? This is Tony from Six String Corner, and guess what? We're going to do Anthem by Rush off of Fly By Night. This is probably one of the most rockin' songs they've ever done. I enjoy playing it, and I hope you will too. I got the tabs to this song. It's in the link below in the description, so go ahead and grab that, and let's get started. Song starts out on 4 power chords: G, A, C, D. And then we play this riff. So we're just plucking here on the A string and on the E string, as you can see. So catch that last one. We're going to hit the A note on the 5th fret, slide down, and then you're going to pull off at the 3rd fret. That's a pull off there from 7 to 5 on the A string. And you're going to press the B string and then hit the A and slide it down to the G, and then you're going to pull off. You're not going to do any extra picking right there. So that goes in the beginning of the song 5 times, and then there's a hold on the E, and then Alex comes in with a scraping on the guitar, right? Just do that with your pick. And then all you're going to do for this part, we're going to play it up here, and then you're going to drop down. That's your picking pattern. And you're going to just go back and forth. Then you go to the same 4 power chords, picked a little different, right? And then back to. Does that 2 times. There's a 3rd time, and on the track, and he actually does this live too, you're actually going to make this an E major. You let that be a little bit more pronounced as you come down. It's a subtle difference, but it does help a lot in making that part work. Then we come to the verse. The verse is going to start on an E, and it just sort of sits there. So after you go, all right, it just holds, and then you're going to play 2 C notes. You can play it here or here, and then you're going to play this. This is actually a D major chord. We're only on the middle 4 strings. And then down to the E again. You just sort of roll that out, and then you play these 2 notes. That's on the D string from 2 to 0. And then you're going to stick on that E, and you're going to play the top part of that E major chord. All right, that's on the strings 3, 2, and 1. And then you're going to go right here, 1st fret B, 3rd fret on the high E string. That's all you're doing. Open G in there. And then you're going to take that shape, come up 2 frets, just those 2 notes, and then part of a D chord is the top part of a D, and then back to the E major. Then you're going to go to a G major chord. A little bit of filler notes in here, so you can go something like that, and then to the A major chord. You're going to bar right here, 2, 3, and 4, strings 2, 3, and 4, and then just bring your finger up here to that 3rd fret on the B, and then you're going to do a little sleight of hand and do a pull-out, and then you're going to go to a C, and then take that C shape and go up here. It's like a D sus4 or D. It's got a weird name to it, but I think I look at it as a D sus4, and then back down to the E major. And then repeat that. And then you play those 2 chords, that C and that D sus. And now we're starting to repeat stuff. You're going to be back to, you're going to play that part again. And then there's going to be a E major when you do the stops. There's a little bit of delay you're going to put in there. So you're going to have to set that timing on the delay. I have it right here. It should be somewhere on the screen. So set that delay to that time. Or if you're playing to a metronome, or if you're playing to actually the actual tempo of this song, I'll also have that indicated here. But it's just a short feedback. Now, the thing is if you really should have a foot pedal, because then you're going to have to click it off. so you don't hear the delay there, and then go back to this part. All right, so you're going to want that delay only on that E. When you go to the G, D, you're not going to hear it. And this is going to be same at the very end of the song. I'm going to jump to that right now. You got 4 times you're going to do that ending, and all those times it's the same idea. You're going to do that delay on the E, kick it off on the G, D, so it doesn't sound kind of crazy and messed up, and then back to the E, stops. Okay, now let's go to the solo. So I'm going to cover the basics of this. It's really a lot of jam, but there's going to be some key parts you're going to want to catch. So I'm going to show you how I play it, and you can feel free to add a little bit here and there, or, you know, because it's just a lot of E minor pentatonic going on here. Oh, and one other thing too, this really super helps if you've got a wah. If you don't have a wah pedal, that's okay. I'm going to show it to you without it, but you really would like to have that wah pedal because he's sort of wahing it in, and then what he'll do is he'll sort of leave the wah at a certain position in the solo. This was done a lot back there in the 70s. I did it too when I was a kid playing this stuff. You'd use that wah, you'd set it just right so it had that mid-rangey sound. That's what Alex does in this solo. So if you got it, use it. If you don't have it, you can still learn the solo. Here we go. So where we start here is we're actually going to be on this, on the D note here, on the G string. And so you're going to sort of ramp up the picking. Right? And you're just sort of going to ramp up and get, you know, just double pick that song as much as you can. At one point, you're going to bend that up to the E note. Right? And then there's that wah, but that open G that's happening right there. Now we're going to go up in this position on the E minor pentatonic. It's about 4 times, rough give or take. I do it 4 times, and what you're doing is you're sitting here on the 12th position, and you're just bending on the 14th fret on the G, and then 12, and then 15 on the B, and the B is going to be, you're going to pull off right there. All right, 4 times. And then you're going to bend here 15th fret on the high E string, and then you're going to come over to bending on the 15 on the B here, and then you're going to do this part here 3 times on the 13th fret on the high E string. I like doing it right here because then I can come to this part. So this is on 10, 12 on the high E, and then we end on that B note here on the 12. So you're bending up and then pulling off. All right, I think it's like about 3 times. And now here it starts to get a little crazy. You're just going to descend down the scale. I add this little part. You're going to end up, what you're going to do is just going to kind of play that riff really fast until you get down here to the D note here on the A string. That's on the 5th fret of the A string. Play this really fast. I had double picking going on here on the right hand, just on that note. Now, if you're just going crazy, sometimes when I've done this live, I might do something really fast there. It's just sort of something to fill that space that's played really fast. But I think on Fly By Night, he just sits there on that note, and then he just rises up. Right, so we're on 9, 7 on the G, and a little bit of 7 on the B, on the D. And then we're going to play this part here. Right, we're adding 8 and 10 on the B string. We do a little bend on the 10, and then we end at 9 on the G. And then we're going to do this little lick. We're bending here on the 12th fret on the B, and then come down, and we're going to go down chromatically. So 12, 11, 10, 8, and then right here at 10, we're going to, so you're going to bend up, down, and end on the 7th fret on the G string. And then we're going to go way up here to 17 on the high E. You're just going to drop down here. This lick is on 15 and 12 on the high E. And then I'm using the 15 on the B. And I bend there a 15. This final riff is the... So it's kind of how we started. If you remember, we did this in the beginning. Well, we're going to do a slight variation on that. Same thing, we're bending at 14 on the G, 12 on the B, 15 on the B, and we do that pull off from 15 to 12. And then one more time on the B, and then you're going to bend high 15 on the E. And then back to the song. So there you have it. Give it a try. Rock on.